to make Fonyi cannabis-free. Several local speakers thanked the President for the numerous development projects that have changed their lives on a positive note. They, however, appealed to the President to help them deal with the dual problem of siltation and salination, which continue to render many of the fields unproductive. They also appealed for more tools and farm implements, expressing their readiness and resolve to till the soil on a scale so as to realize the objectives of Vision 2016. Many other speakers, including the Secretary General Mamadou Sabali and the Minister of Agriculture Solomon Owen, call on the people of Fonyi to return to the land en masse to realize the objectives of Vision 2016. They promise the people of Fonyi that government is determined to address their problems. The tour continues with a meeting in Faji Kunda Pajonkoto Monday. Kebadiba, GRTS.
Magistrates and caddies were the participants at a recent day-long skills enhancement exercise spearheaded by the High Court. The synergy that focused on the speedy delivery of justice comes barely weeks after the appointment of Chief Justice Ali Nawaz Chouan. Louis Mendy reports.
For inexpensive and speedy justice dispensation for all, as encapsulated in the Constitution of the land, is the order of the day at the High Court, a quest that seems to have necessitated this capacity-building exercise for magistrates and caddies. The tutorial was convened after Chief Justice Ali Nawaz Chouan visited courts across the country.
I felt the need for this workshop after visiting over different regions. The purpose of this in-service workshop is to enable magistrates and qazis to refresh their knowledge of law and develop their skills in the areas of case management, professionalism, and judgment writing, so that the quality of adjudicatory skills improve and the issues involved are properly addressed with reference to both law and the facts.
To Chief Justice Chouan, developing the skills of magistrates and caddies is crucial. The argument is that public confidence in court is enhanced when justice appears floating in every adjudicatory exercise rather in every gesture of the presiding officer in the courthouse.
Justice in accordance with law is possible when the magistrates and qazis keep educating themselves without break and keep the law up their sleeves, ready to be used when the moment arrives.
For the magistrates as well as the caddies whose mandate falls on the delivery of justice on marriage, divorce, inheritance and child custody in accordance with Islamic law, the day-long exercise will give renewed impetus to the dispensation of justice for all.
People should have their right. So as far as you are dealing with the right of the people, you should be trained anytime.
The outcome of this seminar will determine how often the court would hold similar conclaves in the future. Meanwhile, Chief Justice Ali Nawaz Chouan praised the government for its stance in recognizing training exercise of this nature, keeping in view the spirit of Article 199 and 216 of the Constitution. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
The World Trade Organization's agreement on trade facilitation is a focus of a 4-day training targeting stakeholders in the trade sector. The effort, bankrolled by Trade Advocacy Fund, TAF, is organized by the Minister of Trade, Regional Integration and Employment. Details in this report by Rohibite.
This training is designed to enable the participants have a better understanding of ways and means of implementing the World Trade Organization Agreement on trade facilitation in the Gambia. The Gambia, like other countries, is grappling with challenges in trade activities like delays at border crossing points, lengthy clearance procedures and complex formalities, coupled with lack of enough trade information regarding other countries. Such a scenario can result in higher trade and opportunity costs that inhibit farm participation in trade and overall welfare gains associated with it. Cognizant of the trade barriers that most countries face, the World Trade Organization recognizes the need to simplify trade procedures and formalities and sets a legal framework for members to follow. The Gambia, being a member of WTO, is also leveling the ground for the implementation of the agreement in the country through this training.
This workshop that we have organized is for us to review, to look at the agreement, review take stock of the requirements, and then help us identify the requirements that we think we would be able to implement. And then it will also help us to identify the requirements that if we are not in a position to implement now, but then we would need some sort of a transition period to put them in place, implementing. And so it will help us identify the different, identify and categorize the different requirements that we need to put in place for the implementation of the agreement.
The purpose of the agreement that's called trade facilitation is to reduce trade costs and to make trading faster and more predictable. So the agreement has some rules that have to be put in place in order to simplify customs procedures, to simplify control procedures, and to make border crossing or entry of goods into Gambia easier and less costly. Some parts of the agreement also calls for publishing and more transparency on the regulations in place so that traders, they know in advance what is actually required to do.
With the aim of strengthening the Gambia's trade negotiation processes, the participants attending this training are expected to be fully armed with the implementation procedure of the World Trade Organization Agreement on Trade Facilitation in the Gambia. That in itself could help ease the constant dogging trade as well as boost the country's economy. Grts.
Blood is usually in high demand and not readily available, especially during emergencies. A grassroots organization based in Sukuta is, however, trying to change the situation by embarking on a sensitization and blood donation campaign. Modu Bajan picks up the rest of that story.
Association of Sukuta engaged its community and members in a sensitization and blood donation activity. The association's public relations officer, Cherno Cham, in delivery of his statement urged the association to press on with their blood donation initiative. He added that the acquisition of blood for medical purposes is many a times challenging and thus described the association as being on track in the realization of the country's health care aspirations. Having hailed the efforts of the Blood Association of Sukuta, the program manager, National Blood Transfusion Service, Maria Majame, also emphasized that blood donation is often stereotyped with many negativities that need to be addressed.
Blood transfusion is a safe procedure because when you come to donate blood, whether you are a voluntary or a relative donor, we don't just get blood from you. We make sure that you are tested. We protect the donor in the first place. We make sure that you are tested. We make sure that you have sufficient blood to donate, and we make sure that your blood is safe for the recipient as well. So there are procedures to make sure that you, the donor, is not affected, neither is the recipient. So it is a safe procedure. But I think the misconceptions is just that there is lack of sensitization, and the National Blood Transfusion is strengthening, and one of the things we are doing now is to embark on a nationwide campaign to ensure that people are aware of the importance and the needs of blood transfusion in our facilities.
Among a handful of others, including the association's PRO, delivered statements on the occasion. They thanked their counterparts and members of the association. Cham also revealed some details in conjunction with the association's operations.
Sukuta Blood Donors Association started on the 12th of April 2011, where from an inspiration word from the then Minister of Health, Madam Fatim Baji, at a World Blood Donor Day celebration 2010 at Serkunda Hospital. She commended the people of Sukuta and the blood bank at Sukuta that when she did the nationwide tour, the time she came as a minister, that place was the only health center she found a lot of blood in the bank, and she was very much moved by the effort the Sukuta people are doing.
A series of activities were conducted at the event, such as a drama depicting issues associated with blood donation. Kenyalings, as in some of their usual edutainment roles, engaged the gathering in songs and dance, relaying messages centered on blood donation. While the importance of blood donation was further re-echoed by Maria Majami and others, a bleeding and donation activity by members of the association and other willing participants was well in place.
In terms of clinical needs, blood transfusion is one therapeutic that cannot be substituted. Human blood is always needed at our hospitals because there is a high need for blood in our hospitals, and this is a very important move in educating people and in ensuring that blood is available. The Sukuta Blood Association has been working very hard with the National Blood Transfusion in achieving our aim, which is getting 100% voluntary blood donors.
The importance of blood donation in a nutshell is to save lives. Donating blood do not just benefit recipients regardless of age, it is also